Hello and welcome back to our Explore series, to the final episode in this series, episode 10. We're exploring Ishvara Pranidhana, which means surrender to the divine. So we'll talk a bit about what that means in a moment, but let's come into our first yin yoga posture to begin. So if you have a blanket, sit on your blanket, get comfy. I'm going to bring the soles of the feet together for butterfly pose to begin. So we're not bringing the feet really close to the body, we're keeping the feet just a small distance away. Have a little shuffle on the sitting bones. Relax around your shoulders. Sit tall here with the hands just lightly holding onto the ankles. And you could close the eyes there if you like. Take a breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathing in, sighing out. And once more. And gently lower your chin towards your chest until you feel a bit of stretch along the back of your neck. Start to breathe gently in and out through your nose. And very slowly, we're going to roll the head over to one side, feeling the stretch moving into the side of the neck. And then very slowly rolling the head back down through the center and taking it across the other way. Keep that going, moving in slow motion as you roll through the neck, as you start to release some tension in those muscles and connective tissues through the neck and into the shoulders. So Ishvara Pranidhana is a concept related to surrender. Now, it translates as surrender to the divine, surrender to God, to a higher power. But yoga itself is not a religious practice. So if God or the divine is not a concept that really feels relevant in your life, and we can simply think about this as the practice of surrender. Surrender to that which you cannot control. So a good example of this is the COVID pandemic. We, for a large part, had no control of what we were allowed to do at that time, what was going on in the world, whether we were able to go out and work, whether we were able to go and see our families. And we have two options in that instance. One is to fight, to battle with it. The other is to find peace, to surrender. This is the kind of surrender that we're talking about when we practice Ishvara Pranidhana. Okay, so now bringing your head back to the center. Lift your head, gently looking up and forwards again and opening your eyes if you haven't closed. Bring your knees together and place the soles of your feet to the ground, a little distance apart. Bring your fingertips to the ground either side of you bring your palms down to the ground with the fingertips facing forwards. I'm going to show you this from the side. So a bit of space between the feet, fingertips facing forwards. We're going to walk the hands back as far as is comfortable, keeping a little bend in the elbows to begin with, and you're likely to feel a bit of a stretch through the wrists here. Then I want you to lift through your chest, kind of puffing your chest out and drawing your shoulders back. Maybe starting to straighten the arms out a bit more as well. So you're likely to feel this through your chest, the front of your shoulders, through your wrists, and maybe through the arms as well. So we won't stay here for too long. This is a fairly active posture considering we're practicing yin yoga today. So pressing down through the forearms, shoulders draw back, chest is puffing out. One more breath. And then bring the soles of your feet together, open your knees as we did before. Release one hand first, bring it to your ankle or lower leg, and then release the other hand. Well done. Come up to sit. It might feel nice to just roll the wrists for a moment. And with the legs back in butterfly pose, we're going to open out the arms in front. Cross the right arm over the left. We're taking eagle arms or Garudasana. So start by wrapping your arms around like this, right elbow on top. And this could be the version you stay with today. Second version is lifting your arms up so your right elbow is tucked in to your left, drawing the backs of your hands towards each other. Drawing your shoulders down away from your ears, lifting and lengthening through your neck. Breathe here. If that doesn't feel right for your shoulders, for your arms, anything else, you could come back to this version. You have the option to stay seated, to stay lifted through the spine, or you could try dropping forwards, folding into this posture. So have a play around with this one, see where you want your arms to be, see what position works best for your shoulders. And once you've found a version of the posture that you feel is right for your body, we're going to surrender into the pose. So when we practice yin yoga, we have the opportunity with each posture we come into to practice Ishvara, PRANIDHANA, to surrender to the posture. So as long as a pose is safe for your body, you can stay with it for as long as it feels safe. Sometimes we feel a little bit of resistance. We feel that we want to kind of control things and maybe we hold back. Maybe we don't really relax into the pose fully. The invitation in this practice is to let go of control, drop into the posture and surrender to the experience. Let's take a final breath here. And then slowly we're going to start to lift back up and unravel the arms at the same time. So release the arms, gradually lift back up, bring the knees together, lean back into your hands. And drop both knees over to one side and then bring them back through the center and drop them over the other way. And just repeat this a few times. Okay, now we're coming back into this position again. It might start to feel a little intense. See if you can stay with it, see if you can surrender to the pose. So we're taking the arms out in front and going the opposite way now. So crossing the left arm over the right, bending the elbows, wrapping the arms around. So left elbow is on top. Or lifting the arms, tucking the left elbow into the right like this. So see what's going to be best for you on this side. Find the pose first. And then start to drop in. Whether that's staying upright like this or dropping forwards into butterfly pose with eagle arms. Relax your jaw. Bring some focus to your breathing. And if you haven't already, you could start to reflect on the idea of surrender. Are you someone who finds it easy to let things be, to embrace the uncertainty of life? Or are you someone who leans more in the direction of trying to control things, even those things that are categorically out of your control? And when things don't go the way that you'd planned, how does that make you feel? Of course, there's nothing wrong with making plans, with taking control in some areas of life. But do you feel that you could benefit from letting go a little bit? This is definitely not an easy thing to do, but like everything within this series, these yamas and niyamas, it's a practice. It's something that we practice doing on the yoga mat with these postures, and particularly with shavasana. And then gradually we can start to take that practice into our life off the yoga mat too. Taking a final breath here. Slowly start to lift back up, unraveling the arms as you go, and come back up to sit. Well done. Bring the knees together. I'm going to come round to tabletop position next. So, onto the hands and the knees. Those hips and shoulders have had a pretty good stretch already with those two postures. As you come to tabletop, walk yourself towards the back of your mat so you have space out in front of you. And if your knees like a bit more padding, you could have your blanket under your knees here. From tabletop position, start to edge your right hand forward, stretching out your right arm, and bring your left hand or maybe forearm to the ground to rest your head onto. So left arm is bent, forearm or hand on the ground, and the right arm is extending all the way out, coming into half puppy pose, or sometimes known as heart to earth pose. So we're sinking the chest and the belly down towards the ground while keeping the hips lifted. Stretching and opening around the shoulder and through the back. If it feels a little tight and restricted around your shoulder, try edging your hand out a bit wider towards the right hand edge of your mat. And start to breathe more deeply. See how you find this posture. It can be quite a tough one, especially if your back or your shoulders are quite stiff, quite tight. Again, the invitation here is to surrender to the pose, so that means dropping into the posture as best as you can. Allowing your chest to drop towards the mat, allowing your belly to drop towards the mat, allowing your back to arch. Breathing here. Final breath here. And then bring your right hand in and slowly lift back up to tabletop position. Tuck your toes and try coming up to a standing forward fold or dangling pose, as it's known in yin yoga. So bend the knees slightly, let your arms drop. You could take hold of your opposite elbows like this and drop your arms heavily, dropping your head as well. Or you could let your arms just dangle straight down towards the ground. Bring your weight into the center of your feet. So we're not standing right back on the heels, we're not forwards on the toes, but over the center of the feet. A generous bend in the knees so that the belly, the chest are kind of dropping towards the thighs. And let your head go as much as you can. If this posture is not going to be suitable for you for any reason, come back down to the ground and sit this one out. This is a posture that targets the lower back, the shoulders, the legs, hamstrings, calves. the more you can let go in this pose, the more you're likely to get out of this one. So notice if you're holding and tensing around your shoulders or around your neck. Can you let them go a little bit more? Can you let every part of your upper body become heavier and let gravity pull your upper body down towards the ground? Final breath here. And then looking forward, slowly walk your hands out, coming back down to tabletop position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Take a breath there. And then we're sliding the left arm forwards, bending the right elbow and bringing the head down onto the back of the right hand or maybe to the right forearm. Coming to heart to earth pose or half puppy pose on the second side. And if this shoulder feels a bit tight, you could take your left hand out a bit wider on the mat. See how you feel, see if there's a difference between the left side and the right. As you start to deepen your breath, let your chest and your belly sink down towards the ground. Final breath here. And then start to bring your left hand back in slowly, lifting up to tabletop position, and then bringing the legs around and coming through to sit. Lean back into your hands for a moment. Let your breath settle. We're coming to our last few minutes of the practice together. So you could choose to come down onto your back and get comfortable there, or you could come to a seated meditation posture to finish. Taking a few minutes to relax, to rest, to reflect and to meditate. So if you're laying down, you could cover yourself with a blanket, you could have your legs straight or your knees bent. Have a little shuffle until you get comfortable. And if you're sitting up, rest your hands on your knees or in your lap. Relax your shoulders. And let's all take a breath in together. A surrendering breath out through the mouth. And let your body rest. Relaxing your forehead. Letting go of any clenching around your jaw. And softening around your shoulders. And the question that I invite you to reflect on today is this: what is an area of your life that you try to control, where you would benefit more from surrendering? What is an area of your life that you try to control, where you would benefit more from surrendering? Take a deeper breath. When you feel ready, you can start to find some movement. Taking your time as you start to move and stretch, or if you like, you could stay on your mat and rest for a bit longer. As we come to the end of our practice, we also come to the end of this Explore series. So firstly, I'd like to thank you for joining me for these practices, for commenting, for liking, for all of the lovely messages that I've been receiving throughout this practice, throughout this series. If you have enjoyed, please leave me a comment below. Let me know what you've learned in this series, what you are excited to go forwards and practice in your life from these yamas and niyamas. And also let me know what else you would like to learn about on this channel. I'm really grateful for you joining me each time on the mat, and I look forward to seeing you in another video very soon. Thank you.